if you were waiting to share, I don't want to stop anybody. So take yourself off mute and jump in here. I'm pulling up my notes for today's conversation. Talked to a friend yesterday who asked me, so John, what are we talking about tomorrow on Rainmaker Training and Coaching? And my answer was, I have no idea. And my method is usually I start studying about 4 in the morning, 4:30 sometimes, just depends on what time I wake up. And I'm usually awake somewhere between 3 and 4. And my message this morning for you is creating the selling climate. And I only have a couple bullet points that I want to share with you. So I'm looking for feedback from you. Just to recap, the last couple of days, Monday, we talked about our 10-minute listing presentation. And then yesterday, we discussed 5 strategies to get more seller appointments. And today, we're going to talk about mastering the craft of sales. And we're going to focus in on creating the selling climate. I've been reading Tom Hopkins, How to Master the Art of Selling again. First read it back in the early 90s, a long time ago. Some of you weren't born yet. And I'm on chapter 4, and here's what he's got to say on creating the selling climate. And then I'm going to add in some of my perspective on this. Okay, so at the top of the page, he says, champions only sell the benefits and features the prospect they're working with wants to buy. I mean, that seems kind of obvious. A lot of you are going, yeah, duh, John. And so many salespeople, so many real estate agents miss this point. And they start selling and telling without asking any questions. And he goes on to say, I've monitored this point. I'm convinced that it's critical to success. Pay attention to the words, pay attention to what people are saying. When somebody that I admire and some people that I look up to says this is critical to success, then I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention. Talk to me. Tell me what's critical to success. Don't sell what you want. Sell what they want. I could be showing you a home and it has an amazing backyard with lots of land and a big pool. And I'm like, wow, look at this backyard. It's amazing. Look at that big pool. And I haven't asked you any questions. And all you see is a big yard that needs to be taken care of and a pool that needs to be cleaned that you're never going to get in. And I'm selling what I want. No, I should buy the house, not you. All right, here's some key points I want you to take away. Be a detective. In other words, become an expert at asking questions. Question, if your home had sold, where were you moving to? So if I'm talking to an expired listing, if your home had sold, where are you moving to? So what, Tampa. So what's in Tampa? And by the way, it's just like that, right? So what's in Tampa? Not, wow, that's great, because maybe it's not great that they're moving to Tampa. Stay in curiosity and ask questions. So what's in Tampa? Family. Amazing. Again, maybe it's not amazing. Maybe they're moving to Tampa to take care of a sick parent. Simply, the next question would be, how soon do you want to be there? Why is that important to you? What would that do for you? You're digging deep. You're asking questions. You're a detective. Here's another question. What's important about waiting 6 months to put your home on the market? If you're selling from a perspective of what's in it for you, and somebody says, I want to put my home on the market in 6 months, and you respond with, let's get your home on the market now, you're coming from a point of view of getting a commission check. They can tell. You're speaking with commission breath. And they're totally turned off. The average real estate agent wouldn't even ask this question. The average agent doesn't recognize the difference between an objection and a condition. So a condition is something that actually is going to stop them from putting their home on the market right now. It's not an objection. And when you're faced with a condition, you don't overcome conditions. You overcome objections. Next question. If you were a buyer, why would you buy your home? Why is that important to you? Is unique and different a selling advantage or a disadvantage when selling your home? Why? Most homeowners think it's an advantage. Is it? Why is it? If it's not an advantage, why isn't it? I've got a unique home. That's, to me, the homeowner, I think that's amazing. Maybe it is. And then again, maybe it's not. I sold a house once. It was about 3,000 square foot. By legal descriptions, it had one bedroom, even though it really had 3 bedrooms. But the way this home was designed, it had 1 bedroom. The kitchen was on the 2nd floor. It was just unique. Seller loved it. Here's the challenge. When you have a needle in the haystack home, you're looking for a needle in the haystack buyer. So maybe it's not an advantage. Okay, if I'm working with a buyer, what are 10 things you are looking for in a home? Of those 10, which ones are deal killers? If the homes we are looking at don't have them, which of the things that you shared with me, which of the 10 are deal killers, you're not buying that home? What are the top 5 must-haves? Why is that important to you? When somebody says, I want a pool, what does that look like to you? I know what a pool looks like to me. I mean, a pool is a pool. You're thinking, John, seriously? No, it's an important question, because one person might be thinking just something to fall into at the end of the day and cool off. And the next person is thinking, I want to have parties on the weekend. I want to have all of my friends and family over, and I want a pool large enough for 20 or 30 people. I want to be able to play pool volleyball. I want to be able to swim laps. You need to know what it is they're looking for so that you can sell that. All right, mindset. Don't be attached to the outcome. Please write that down. If you're attached to the outcome, you're going to sell from a position of what's best for you. Next, go from playing tennis to playing doubles tennis. So here's what I mean by that. If I'm playing tennis with Eileen and I'm on one side of the net and she's on the other side of the net, we are playing against one another. We are competing with one another. And I want to get over on the other side of the net and be on the same side as the net as Eileen is. And now we're partners. We're playing doubles tennis. I'm not selling something. She's not rejecting me. I am over on the other side of the net with her. We're working together in order to make the right decision. It's a mindset.
Win-win or no deal.
Thank you, my brother. So good to share. What's up?
I love it. I love it.
Okay, last point is you can't sell something you haven't bought. If you don't believe in what you're selling, nobody else will either. Have you bought it? Have you bought what you're selling? Do you believe that you are the right real estate agent for the job? If you don't, they're not going to believe that. All right, he goes on to say, champions don't sell benefits before finding out what benefits the prospect want. Average salespeople plunge into selling benefits from the start, and inevitably, they have the prospect sitting there thinking, none of this I'm hearing is important to me. You've all sat across the table from someone who does that. For example, if you were recruiting me to your real estate company and you started talking about the amazing technology that you have to offer, everything that technology is going to do for me, I am glazed over because honestly, I don't care. I've run my real estate business very old-fashioned, prospecting based, picking up the phone, not using a dialer. Start talking to me about your dialer, how amazing it is. I'm not paying attention because I don't care about that dialer. It's not important to me. Find out what's important to me first, and then sell based on what I want, not what you think I should want. He goes on to say, who pays for your product or service? You or the buyers? Of course, the buyers do. Then you should give them what they want. Doesn't that make sense? Sell them the features that will give them the benefits that they want. So if I were recruiting you to my team, and I just jumped into selling and telling, I am going to focus on the benefits that are important to me. In other words, if you were recruiting me and you just started talking about technology, why it is the best, what it will do for me, I don't care about technology, and we're done. All right. Here's the last paragraph that I highlighted. I'm going to share my thoughts on it, and then I'm going to ask you for your feedback and what are your thoughts. All right. In most cases, you can't afford the time to show them everything or lead them step by step over every square foot of your knowledge to the one item they'll buy. That's not efficient. It's not professional. It's not money making. He's talking about qualifying. Are they ready, willing, and able to buy? Are they ready, willing, and able to put their home on the market? If they're not, it doesn't do any good to talk to them about buying now, selling now. That's a condition. It's not an objection. The purpose of your consultation interview, which might be a few quick questions on the phone to prospects or a longer face-to-face interview in someone's office, is to diagnose their challenge and determine what their opportunities are. All right, I want you to think of yourself like a doctor, and I'm sitting in your office and I walk in the door and I say, I've got this pain in my belly. You're going to ask questions. It's a consultation. What you're doing is you're trying to find my pain. You're trying to find out what's causing that pain. Now, real estate, what are the obstacles that are standing between me and my goals so that you can prescribe the right solution in order to remove those obstacles and move me closer to my goals? It's the same thing if you're sitting at somebody's kitchen table who's trying to sell their home, who wants to buy a home. Find their pain and prescribe a solution to take away the pain. That's called sales. We are more motivated by avoiding pain than we are by going towards pleasure. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to take a piece of paper and I want you to draw a line going down the center of the paper, and I want you to draw a line horizontally right through the middle of it. You've just created 4 boxes. And in the top left box, I want you to write present positive. Top left box, excuse me. In the top left box, I want you to write present positive. Present positive is everything that is going on that is good. What's going well? If I were talking to you as a real estate agent, if I was recruiting you to my team, I would start out with, tell me what's going well. How are you doing? What was your production in 2022? How do you feel about that? Now, I'm going to transition to future positive with, where do you want to be a year from now? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? Why is that important to you? What would that do for you? How do you feel about that? And I am going to use emotion to paint a picture of this amazing life that you're going to be living 5 years from now. Why do you want to move to Tampa? What would that do for you? What is life like a year from now when you're living in Tampa with your family? What is it like 5 years from now when you've spent the last 5 years with your parents and your children have had an opportunity to spend the last 5 years with their grandparents? What would it look like if you were to move in order to take that dream job in Atlanta? What does your life look like a year from now if you're making an extra $100,000? I put $100,000 in front of you right now. What would you do with that money that you're currently not doing? What if you made an extra $100,000 every year for the next 5 years? You've got an additional $500,000. How is that changing your life? What are you doing that you're currently not doing? Now, bottom left box, present negative. What are the obstacles that are standing between you and where you want to go? Again, if it was a recruiting conversation, Eileen, after I asked you, how are you doing? What's going well? What did your production look like in the past 12 months? How do you feel about that? Then the next question after what does the future look like would be, okay, tell me what the obstacles are. What's standing between where you want to be and where you are right now? How do you feel about that? And bottom right box, future negative. Future negative is what happens when we don't remove the obstacles in present negative. In other words, if you want to get to better, you have to get to different. The definition of insanity is to continue doing the same things, expecting a different result. And to that homeowner who's selling their home by owner, this is a great exercise to take that person through. Present positive. I'm selling my home. The market's hot. I'm going to make a lot of money and I don't have to pay a real estate agent a commission. Awesome. Love that. Makes sense to me. Future positive. When your home sells, where are you moving to? Moving to Tampa. What's important about Tampa? Family. Got it. How soon would you like to be there? Within 3 months. Totally understand. Now, present negative. What are the potential obstacles that are standing between you, where you are, and where you want to be? What does a great buyer look like? Great buyer is somebody who can afford my home. Yep, I agree. Can I share with you what a great buyer looks like to me? Of course. A great buyer is somebody who sold their home yesterday and they need to buy a home to move into in the next 30 days. A great buyer is somebody who's in town for the weekend to buy a home. Now, if you were that buyer, are you driving around looking for sell by owners, or do you have a real estate agent working for you in order to find that property that you have to buy in the next 30 days? Working for you because you're in town for the weekend to buy a home. And the answer is obviously they're working with an agent. And if you're that agent who's working with that buyer, are you showing them all of the for sale by owners? Or are you showing them properties that are listed by a professional like me? Showing them homes that are listed with a realtor? Of course you are. Now, here's the next question. If we're not attracting one of those buyers that we just described as a great buyer, who are we attracting? Is it possible? The answer is everybody else. Is it possible that we're attracting buyers who are looking for a deal? Is it possible that we're attracting buyers who can't get financing? And because they can't get financing, they're not working with a real estate agent. Therefore, they're calling all of the for sale by owners. Have you heard anybody ask you if you would do a lease to own or owner financing? And you talk to any for sale by owner who's been on the market for any period of time longer than a week, and the answer is going to be, yeah, I've had people ask that question. Do you know why? The reason you're attracting those types of buyers is because buyers who can't get financing are seeking out for sell by owners because it's their only option. Present negative. And they're not even aware of this. Now, if we don't remove these obstacles, we're going to end up in that bottom right box, which is future negative, which means Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, it's possible that you're still here 6 months from now. You're not in Tampa with your family. It's also possible that the market shifts and the value of your home is less 6 months from now, and you're looking at selling your home for even less money. Possibly the home value has dropped so much that you can't even afford to sell your home. And now you're still in your home 5 years from now, future negative. How do you feel about that? What if the market shifts like it did in 2008? Did you know when the values dropped in 2008, it was 2016 before home values were where they were in 2008? It took 8 years. And what if these obstacles caused you to be in your home for another 8 years? Are you okay with that? How would you feel about that? You don't have the next 8 years with your parents. Your children don't have the next 8 years with their grandparents. Would you regret that? I'm going to slow down. I'm going to park right here. And here's the reason why. We are more motivated by avoiding pain than we are by going towards pleasure. I want to park on pain because when I park on pain, I want to get the person I'm speaking with wants to get away from pain. If I'm having a recruiting conversation with a real estate agent, is it possible that because you're comfortable, you're happy, you like your broker, that you're choosing to stay where you are because it's comfortable, and that decision is costing you money? It's costing you a lot of money. And over the next 5 years, you've lost $500,000 because you chose to make a decision because it was comfortable. If you knew that was true, how would you feel about that? All right. I jumped all over the place. We went from talking to a for sale by owner to recruiting real estate agents to working with buyers. I hope you got everything that I said. And if you're confused, I don't blame you. All right. Take yourself off mute. Talk to me. What do you hear?
I heard that the person who talks the most dominates the conversation, and the person who asks the most questions controls the conversation.
Here it is. Yes, Tara. Your job is to ask great questions in order to lead your client where they want to go. To listen, pay attention to what they're saying so you can hear their pain points and fix whatever obstacle it is that's causing them not to get where they want to go. I mean, Tara, they may not even know that they've got these obstacles. They may not even know that not paying attention to these obstacles means that they're going to end up in future negative.
Well, I think that's why it goes back to us being the salespeople, right? And being able to help them self-discover. It's not our position to make decisions for them. It's our job to help them navigate and give them new information to make a new decision and self-discover.
Yes, exactly. And for anybody who's here that's thinking, well, we're not salespeople, we're realtors, right? I see a post this morning on Facebook, something about not being a salesperson. I get it. I really do. However, there's nothing wrong with being a salesperson. And in my mind, you are salespeople. You are expert professionals at consulting your clients in order to help them make the best decision. You're never going to sell them something they want. There's never been somebody who bought a home and said, oh my gosh, that slick Tara Carter, she really is just unbelievable salesperson. She sold us this house we didn't even want. No, that's never happened, but you are salespeople. All right, one more. Talk to me.
Yeah, the other thing is that the more you ask questions and listen, it's what's in their mind they'll tell you everything you need to know. If you'll ask, just keep asking questions. It's sort of like that tell me more, which is one of those things I like, because I looked up on the Rainmaker Plus website that SPR, and, it's, stimulus, pause, response, and tell me, wait a second, thoughtful, and then say, well, tell me more, and it really prompts people to speak. And the more you can get to know what's in their mind, it's like that old line about, we're selling with your mind in mind, but you really need to be in that place, standing next to your client, next to your buyer, so that, you can be on the same page.
Well done, Ryan. So good to have you here. You bring a lot of value, and I appreciate that. Kiera, I read your comment, and of course, I didn't read it very well. This is a great example of responding with, you're not thinking about the other person. I shared my YouTube link, and you were looking for Beth's, so ignore me. All right. All right, everybody, I have 8:58, and I hope you got great value today. It's time to get to work. What is work? Work is 20 conversations, not 19, not 18, not 17, or it's 10, or it's 5, whatever it is, it's your standard. The point is, hit your standard. If you don't have the 9th conversation, you might have missed $1 million listing simply because you didn't have the conversation or you didn't knock on the door. It's making care calls, not sales calls. Always lead with gratitude. Always bring value to every conversation. Focus on building a relationship, not getting a sale. Make deposits, lots of deposits. When you've made a lot of deposits, it's okay to make a withdrawal. It's okay to ask, hey, Tara, if you knew if somebody was going to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate, would you refer them to me? Awesome. Who do you know that's thinking of selling their home? Find somebody today that is thinking of selling their home. Meet with somebody today that is thinking of selling their home. Do that every day for the next 250 days, and you will meet with 250 potential sellers. Follow up with them forever because you reject rejection, because no is not a word that lives in your vocabulary. No simply means not yet. Remember that people will never change their mind, but they will make a new decision based on new information. And when you follow up forever, you're creating emotional proximity, which simply means the person who is closest to me when I get serious about selling my home is the person who is going to get the listing. So when Brian follows up forever, he's creating emotional proximity. So when I make a new decision based on new information, that new decision will be to hire Brian. All right, everybody, make it a great day.